Good morning, everybody. It is beating down on me here outside in this Western New York heat, and I'm trying to push it. But I wanted to hop on here and discuss what went down last night. Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley, Showtime pay-per-view, former UFC welterweight champ against the guy that's billed a YouTuber, Disney star. Let's scratch that. He's no longer on Disney. He's not really on YouTube unless he's promoting his fights. So Jake Paul has been a fighter, an aspiring fighter, for the last, year and a half. Credit to him for that. That's not easy to step in there. Much respect for that, stepping in there. But in the process of watching that fight last night, I came away knowing what I already knew. And what I already knew was that Jake Paul, well, guy that you can say he has heart for stepping in there, he's just not. There's levels. Despite the win, it was a split decision win. It was a very close fight, in my opinion. I thought Paul won the first 3 rounds. I thought Woodley started to regain his footing as the fight wore on. And I thought that Tyron put Paul in the most trouble out of anybody in that fight. The big crucial moment in the fight was Woodley putting Paul in between the ropes and frustrating Jake Paul. And really the thing that showed up most to me was the gas tank, or lack thereof, from Jake Paul. 4 rounds, that was really it. After that 4th round ended, Jake Paul had to find his second wind, had to find his footing, had to find his range again. And Tyron Woodley did capitalize on that, winning some rounds, in my opinion. In a 8-round fight, for a judge to give Tyron Woodley only 2 rounds, I thought that was ridiculous. Did Jake Paul win? Yeah, but I thought it was pretty close for an 8-round fight. I thought Paul probably won maybe 5 of the 8 rounds, which is a win. 5 out of 8, that's a win. So I did, almost tripped there. I did have Jake Paul winning the fight, but wasn't impressed by his performance. In the words of the great George St. Pierre, I was not impressed by his performance, but we'll see what happens as far as who's next for Jake Paul. I get a feeling it's going to be Tommy Fury. I don't think Jake Paul wants no part of Tyron Woodley again. And in the business of Jake Paul Incorporated, why would you want to go up against a fighter that put you through the ropes? Why would you want to go up against a fighter that showed your vulnerabilities once? Why would you want to go up against him twice? Whether there's this tattoo bet or not, I get the feeling that Jake Paul wants no part of Tyron Woodley again. I don't blame him, looking out for his best interest, but from the purest standpoint, someone asked for a rematch in front of all the people that purchased the pay-per-view, and you're standing there saying, we've moved on, you're old news. You get your brother standing behind you saying these things, trying to run your own business. If I was Jake Paul, I would have thrown Logan Paul into the corner and said, shut the hell up. This is my business, not yours. Step back and let me do my business that I just did in front of 20,000 people that actually showed up for me in Cleveland, Ohio, in our hometown. So respect to, Jake Paul for being the attention, generating fighter that he is now. Respect the hustle, but as far as the game, as far as what goes on inside the squared circle, I'm just not impressed. I saw a guy fight 4 rounds, get tired in 4 rounds, and essentially backpedal the rest of the fight. If you're scoring that fight based on aggression, you would say that Tyron Woodley won the fight. If you're scoring that fight based on who landed more power punches out of the two, that was Tyron Woodley all day long. Tyron Woodley, if he had actually stepped in that ring and said, I'm going to win this fight, he would have won the fight. Rather than Tyron saying after the fight, I wanted to stay patient, I didn't want to run into his overhand right. Jake Paul had nothing to drop Tyron Woodley with beyond the 4th round, and Tyron being the former champ that he is, he should have recognized that. In those 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th round, should have closed the distance, and he would have won. He would have got him. He would have got Jake Paul. I have no shame in saying that or putting that take out there. If Tyron Woodley wanted to win that fight in those rounds, he could have finished it. Furthermore, let's say, Tyron lands those big punches in the 4th round. He puts Jake Paul through the ropes. Why was the fight not ended in the 5th? Tyron Woodley could have done that. But he's 39 years old. He's lost 4 straight fights. He's been finished in his last fight while coming in on Vicente Luque. And he didn't want that to happen again. And I get that. I get that 100%. So part of me understands the patience, but Jake Paul is not Vicente Luque. Jake Paul is not Colby Covington. Jake Paul is not welterweight champ Kamaru Usman. At that point, Paul was gassed. He was backpedaling. I think there were moments in the fight where he didn't even know where his back was turned to in the ring. And Tyron didn't cut him off. So there was missed opportunities out there for Tyron Woodley. And there were moments where he easily could have won the fight. If he had wanted to bite down on his mouthpiece and just go full bore, he could have done that. And I don't think he would have been in any danger because Paul was too tired at that point. But it was an entertaining night, Dubois, the heavyweight, that was a fun fight. As far as Tommy Fury goes, he set himself up for a fight with Jake Paul, but I wasn't exactly impressed with his performance either. Going 4 rounds against an MMA fighter, not finishing the MMA fighter in a boxing ring like he should have. But, hey, it's a lot easier said than done. But at the same time, Tyron Woodley's going to watch that fight back, think to himself, shit, I left a lot of opportunities out there. Who knows if he's going to get a second one? He should get a second one. But I don't think Jake Paul's going to give it to him. We'll see.